Before we make the mechanic of can't touch the floor, we first need an obstacle for our player to avoid. We'll go to our sprites folder, right click in project, go to create, sprites, and select the right shape. We're going to call this obstacle. Now we can drag it into our scene, and we're going to change the color so it's obvious that it's different to the ground. We're going to need to add a few components to the obstacle to make sure that our player can interact with it. We're going to need to add a collider to the obstacle so the computer knows when our player has interacted with it. We'll go to add component when we've got the obstacle selected, and we're going to search for collider. Now the option you choose will depend on the different shape that you've used for your sprite. For this instance, we're going to use the polygon collider 2D. If we hit edit collider and we zoom into the object, you'll see it allows us to edit one of the three sides. We only need to check for collision on the top two sides, so we'll hover over the bottom line, we'll click and hold and drag the point up so that it arches over the two sides of the triangle. We can unclick edit collider 2D, and now we have our obstacle that our player can walk into. So now we need to add the next step will be add a tag, so that when we collide with the object, we can check what object we're colliding with. We go to tag up the top, we hit add tag, click plus, and type in the name. Make sure you hit save, and then you need to select your item again, go to tag, and this time we assign the tag that we've just made. Now we need to open up our player script. We can either do that by selecting our player and double clicking in the inspector, or we can go to our scripts folder and double click it in the project window. Now, we're going to be checking for whenever we hit another object, so we do this in a new method. We have our void start here that runs at the beginning of the game, and we have our void update that runs every frame. We'll go below, but making sure we stay above this final bracket, and we'll type void on collision enter 2D. Now what this does is whenever we collide with an object, it will feed in what we have collided with and give us the collision 2D. So we're going to check that if the collision that we collide with, the game object that it's attached to, has a tag that is equal to the value of obstacle. And then we put in our second brackets what happens when this is true. Well, we just want to simply remove our player from the game. So we type destroy game object. When we type destroy game object like this, it will reference the game object that this script is attached to, which in this instance is our player. We press Ctrl S to save, and we go back to Unity. Now if we hit play, and we walk into our obstacle, the player disappears.